delivers a video message to hurricane survivors. But in the meantime, Democratic Congresswoman Frederica Wilson sparked a feud with President Trump this week after she listened in on a private condolence call the president was making to the wife of Sergeant David Johnson, who was killed in the Niger attack. Wilson slammed the president for his supposedly insensitive remarks, something White House Chief of Staff John Kelly, also a Gold Star parent, took personally.
I was stunned when I came to work yesterday morning and brokenhearted at what I saw a member of Congress doing. A member of Congress who listened in on a phone call from the President of the United States to a young wife, and in his way tried to express that opinion. He's a brave man, a fallen hero. We were stunned. Stunned that she'd done it. Even for someone that is that empty a barrel, we were stunned.
Wilson then attacked Kelly, claiming his empty barrel comments were racist.
I think that's a racist term, too. I'm thinking about that when we looked it up in the dictionary, because I had never heard of an empty barrel. And I don't like to be dragged into something like that.
She even took her attacks further, telling the New York Times the White House itself is full of white supremacists. President Trump responded on Saturday, tweeting, "I hope the fake news media keeps talking about wacky Congresswoman Wilson and that she, as a representative, is killing the Democrat Party." Joining me now, former Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski and Senior Director of Research at Bustle.com, Jessica Tarlov. So, Corey, I'm going to start with you. I mean, this woman, to go after a Gold Star parent the way she went after Kelly, calling him a liar, calling him a racist. I mean, President's right. She is really hurting the Democratic Party when she does that.
Jesse, the Democratic Party has been in shambles now for the last 6 or 8 years. They're a rudderless ship, and what you have with this particular member of Congress is a person that nobody knew, who's trying to politicize the tragedy of an American hero. And what General John Kelly stood up and said was that there are some things that should be sacred, and the death of a hero should be something that is sacred and should not be politicized. And what she has done is made a sham of something which is so sacred to the American people. A man and many men and women have given their lives, and the president made a phone call to express his gratitude and support to the widow of that great hero, and she decided to politicize this for her own political gain. Frankly, it's very disgusting to me.
So, Jessica, I said the other day when I was on the Five, President Trump really should not have said, you know, I'm the one that makes calls when every other president doesn't make the calls. That being said, what this Congresswoman did by politicizing this condolence call really hurts and damages Sergeant Johnson's memory.
I think that everybody involved actually has damaged Sergeant Johnson's memory. The fact that the President of the United States of America tweeted today about the wacky Congresswoman twice and didn't talk about the fact that today was actually the funeral of Sergeant Johnson.
Yes, and we're looking at the funeral right now, and because of the Congresswoman's comments, this funeral and his memory will always be linked to this political circus.
I mean, you even admitted right off the bat, and I appreciate you did it on the Five in the first place, that he should have never brought up what President Obama did in the first place. Frederica Wilson had not said anything until President Trump did that. John Kelly did not refute, actually, what happened on the call, which apparently was disturbing to the wife, who was grieving. And John Kelly also accused her.
He said she mischaracterized the condolence
No, but people are, especially when you're grieving, fair to take.
To call John Kelly a racist.
Oh, no, I completely,
John Kelly
Corey, give me a second here. I absolutely do not think that John Kelly is a racist. I think that those words were wrong. But what John Kelly did by coming out there and also saying that the politicization of Gold Star families began at the convention, singular, over the summer, the Democratic convention, where he's referring to Khizr Khan, when at the RNC there were a number of Gold Star families that came out there and spoke, specifically Benghazi parents. It shows that there's a bias here and that President Trump has tried to sway things in his direction, has everyone covering for him. And in this case, he was wrong. He started this with the politicization.
Go ahead, Corey.
Look, it's very simple. Look, to say the fact that she had to look up the term in a dictionary to understand what an empty barrel means, and to accuse a great 4-star Marine general who has given his entire life and his son's life for this country, to call him a racist is so out of bounds. She should resign immediately. She should disappear, and she should never be involved in elective office again.
Do you think it was out of bounds with do you think the President of the United States of America is out of bounds for spending his time on Twitter calling her a wacky congresswoman? She was a mentor to the fallen soldiers.
Give me a break. A mentor.
Really,
She's
she has a
absolutely out of
mentoring
control.
program.
She has no role in elective office. That is not what our children should aspire to be. For her to use the term that General John Kelly, a man who's served his country with distinction for 40 years, is a racist,
no one is
to throw that
refuting
term around pejoratively. Well, where's the mainstream media? Where is their outrage with him?
I'm sorry, I only work here. I can't show up on CNN or MSNBC.
All right, listen, let's move on. We both agree that this whole circus is totally out of line, and Congresswoman Johnson really needs
doesn't think the president's responsible for any of it.
Listen, we all know what happened. Now it's time to move on. Let's talk about a little conspiracy theory that's taking place over on MSNBC. Rachel Maddow attempted to blame President Trump's inclusion in the country Chad in his revised travel ban for the attack in Niger. Listen.
The government of Chad drove this very hard bargain with Exxon. They went after Exxon really hard. And yeah, the CEO of Exxon for most of this time was Rex Tillerson, and maybe that made him mad. They just blanket banned people from Chad. Nobody from Chad can get a visa to come here anymore. On Friday of last week, the government of Chad announced that they had completed the withdrawal of all Chadian troops from their neighboring country, Niger, where for years they have been fighting ISIS-linked Islamic militants. Well, right after that, that's when 4 U.S. Army soldiers got attacked by a large contingent of ISIS fighters in Niger.
So, Corey, I'm going to go to you and summarize because it is a little convoluted. She's saying that Chad, the country in Africa, got mad at ExxonMobil. Rex Tillerson at ExxonMobil then got mad at Chad. So then Chad got on the travel ban list. Chad pulls troops out of Niger. And then ISIS in Niger attacks American soldiers. So it's Bush's or Exxon or Rex's fault?
I think Trump's.
Well, so right. So look, Jesse, this is the craziest thing. Once again, here's the greatest thing. Sean Hannity is so destroying Rachel Maddow in the ratings. That's why I didn't even see this clip until just now, because no one's paying attention to what she says anymore. Okay, that's number one.
Okay.
Number two, the travel ban is very simple. What the president has said and what this administration has looked at is, if we don't know who's coming to our country, and the information that we don't or we are not receiving from that country, if who is trying to get a visa to come here, then it is a privilege and an honor to come to our great country. And if we can't find out who's coming, then we shouldn't let them in the first place. That is the job of the President of the United States, which is to keep its citizens
and Jessica,
safe of all enemies.
Jessica, you have the Russia conspiracy now the Niger conspiracy, the fake Melania conspiracy.
Oh, I like that.
I think President Trump releasing the JFK files is just in time for you guys.
Just in time for Christmas.
Quickly.
No, I don't agree with this one. I couldn't really follow it. The Council on Foreign Relations has put out some really great analysis of what actually happened in Niger and what is going on with Boko Haram in neighboring countries that has morphed into a form of ISIS. So I'm not with Maddow on this one.
Okay, that's all you have to say.
Well, I also wanted to direct you to the Council on Foreign Relations.
Don't ruin it because you're doing so well.
All right,
Corey, Jessica, I got to run. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hollywood liberals slamming President Trump. One of the stars of Seinfeld, John O'Hurley, tells us what it's like living in enemy territory.
You caught Mrs. Clinton's attention when Donald Trump introduced you. I haven't heard your assessment of her as a candidate.
Well, I was always told that it was a very good thing in life to be judged by your enemies. And if Mrs. Clinton is now my avowed, sworn enemy, I must be getting something right. Look, she represents so much that has gone wrong over the course of the last couple of decades. These political elites who work pretty much hand in glove with the giant multinational businesses, where frankly the relationships between money and politics are so blurred that in the minds of many people, frankly, it begins to look corrupt. She represents a kind of politics that has seen us, you in the States and us here, meddling endlessly in the Middle East, getting involved in military conflicts in situations about which we have very little knowledge, and frankly, we've made things, I think, quite a lot worse. And she represents a kind of privileged elite that pretends at election time that it represents ordinary folk and their aspirations, but actually is about self. So I think that Hillary Clinton is a truly awful candidate, and frankly, I think the worst I've ever seen in the States. And if she were to win this presidency, all the same bad old things would just continue.
Nigel Farage, thanks for being with us.